YouTube, Jason from Renegade Rants Comics here. So I'm going to try to do a short video. Basically, this is from our swap meet that we did from the Legion of Substitute Comic Collectors. So I have a package from Stevie D, and I have a package from the Legion of Substitute Comic Collectors headquarters, and it was addressed to Jason Blaze. So Bjorn, thank you for that one, because that made my day when I saw the package. Hope you guys got yours all right. Now, I'm going to just do this video for right now. Now, over the weekend, on Saturday, I went to my Uncle Vern's house, and my uncle, if you've watched any of the previous videos, is who got me into comics. Well, he is going to be moving and is wanting me to help him kind of just see what he had in his collection, which I didn't realize he still had a collection, and oh my God. So a lot of it was filler stuff, and there was a couple books, so I'm just going to show one right now. So this is the Batman Annual number 8 from 1982. And this one is one that I remember reading over and over and over again when I was little. And I kind of was going through it. And when I was going through it, I did what the kids did. So if I can find it real quick here, because I loved this book. It scared me at first, but I loved it. And so as I'm going through the collection with him, he basically said, well, if you see anything you want, but if you look right there, that was my first attempt at signing my name. So this book actually has a lot of nostalgia for me. There's actually tape on it. It's not worth anything, but it means a lot to me. The other books, and he had a lot of fluff. He's got a lot of Superboy and Legion of Superheroes. He's got some World Finest. I mean, all decent books, but nothing overly great. And then we hit the big one. So he has almost the entire X-Men run that is the most desirable X-Men run. We're sitting there, and he doesn't have any huge books, but these are actually in fairly good shape, and he kind of wanted me to just kind of like try to price them, and I don't sell books. You know, I kind of know grading a little bit as far as buying them, you know, what to look for. So I was kind of going on Key Collector and just seeing what, like, the pricing is, and then just putting it on, you know, with a caveat. This would be if it's a 9.8, you know, and you can do mid-grade, but they were kind of, some of the grades were anywhere from a 3 to a 8.0. So I'm going to do a video on those, and that was the X-Men side. Then we did the DC side. You know, he had a few Spider-Man, so my friend Sean, I was able to help him, the Spectacular Spider-Man and the Web of Spider-Man, because my uncle wants to move the collection. He wants to sell it. So what I'm planning on doing is trying to go through, and I'm going to do another video just showing off some of the books, but he had a pile of books that literally missing the interior. It's just the cover, or the cover was completely torn, you know, kind of thing. And in that pile, he had a giant size X-Men. And I just stopped, swore, stopped again. It's complete, and it's not that bad. So I'm going to put a quick picture up here. I want to do a big video on that. So that's his big book. So what I'm hoping is that if you guys watch this, that when I do the video, I'm going to try to break it down, and I'm probably going to do it into the bigger books. And I want you guys to kind of help me, maybe value-wise. The other thing is, anybody that watches the channel that would be interested, I'm on Renegade Rants over on Instagram. I'm probably going to put them up for sale because he's going to be moving, and He just had a bout with cancer, and he just kind of wants to unload the collection kind of thing. So I want to try to help him out by moving it, but I want him to get fair dollar, but I don't want to overcharge anybody for the condition either. So that's going to be coming down the pipe. But what I want to do right now is go through what we did for the swap meet. Again, thanks to Stevie D and Sonocrom for coming up with that idea, because I think we actually did some really good things together. And if I don't cut my finger off, famous last words. We'll see what we got here. I'll say this, Stevie knows how to tape a package. So here's the pile here. And I think those guys they may have already done it. Like I said, I'm behind on a lot of the videos, but I know they should have got my... So we did a swap meet, basically, where on the live stream, we just, threw up books that we thought, people might want. So this is what I ended up getting from Stevie D. So we have Batman Legends of the Dark Knight, number 41, Sunset. We have Iron Man number 18. We have Iron Man, the Final Enemy number 19. And I love the cover on that. Iron Man number 20. Iron Man number 21. And it looks like maybe Superman... Oh, this is Trinity, but it's got the Superman, and I believe... That's the logo, but it's number 22. So there's that. So thank you so much. And I am so behind. When I did the free comic book day with my friend Dave, he gave me a whole stack of comics that... he was like, hey, if you can find a good home for them or anything you want for the collection, to go through the channel. So I'm going to probably try to come up with some, if anything are duplicates or whatever. One, I'm going to put what I think, is going in the box to go out to Fort Drum for the soldiers, or, the vet pack. The other thing is I want to try to put some things together and start doing some giveaways, either on Instagram or on the channel. So stay tuned for that. But now let's get in to see what we got from Crom. And I will try to put a link to the video so you can see what was available. Because Mike from Casino had a few things, but it was one of those that I had most of them, because we both like Jonah Hex, and I believe that's the one book I know I sent to Crom. I think there was a couple Captain Americas too, but he was basically the amount of stuff that I got for that trade. I mean, it's a decent book that I gave him, but he's more than generous for that. So we have a 30-cent Batman Detective Comics number 458. We have an Ultimate Wolverine number 1 variant edition. And it looks like he gave me one of the Bry's Comic Trade editions. So this is number 361 out of 1,500 copies. So, wow. We have a 25-cent Batman Detective Comics number 454. We have a Batman 535. we have Detective Comics 450. This is a 25 center, and I always love the cover on that. And then we got a 25 center, number 453, Detective Comics. And then Batman Beyond number 22. Batman Beyond number 23. Batman Beyond number 38. Batman Beyond number 34. Let's see. Batman Gotham County Line number 1 of 3. That's a pretty good size. It's almost a trade. And then Gotham County Line number 2. And Gotham County Line number 3. So I have the whole series on that. So I want to give a big shout out to Comics with Stevie D, Sonocrom Bjorn. Shout out to Mike from Casino Comics. I know we didn't do a trade, but he was very generous and sent me a whole bunch of Punishers I needed. So, you know, anytime he needs anything. Now, I can't necessarily give away my uncle's stuff. I'm just going to show you some of the stuff. Now, this was the big guy. And condition-wise, it was literally in his throwaway pile. He thought it was literally junk. And here we are. So, of course, condition-wise, the pages are kind of bent over. It's a little discolored, but there's no tears. Everything's complete on the inside. It's yellow pages, but I'm very concerned about what this could be. So I know that Matt and Clemson, which I don't know if that's his handle anymore, I know him or Comic Spa, Jeff from Comic Spa. This would be the only book I've ever actually held in my hand that I would literally consider sending off. And I'm nervous because condition-wise, I don't know if this is something I don't know if I would CGC, because I don't think we're going to necessarily get huge grade bumps for the value versus what it is raw right now. The other thing is, I don't know value-wise if this had a clean and a press, any of that other stuff, if the value would be worth it. So anybody down in the comments, let me know your thoughts. Should this be a, you know, I talk to my uncle, I do a gamble on it, send it in to get a clean and a press, see if we can get a better grade on it, or maybe to see what I can get in the current condition for him. He's not hurting for money, but he just wants to not have to worry about moving these. So now this is where we start getting into, I did not know he was a huge X-Men guy. And he was a huge X-Men guy. So I have X-Men 97. And that one, I would say, all of them had a spine roll. And of course, all of these comics, some had bags, but those were ones he had bought like in the later or mid-80s. The rest of these were just raw. So for them being raw, since he bought them, I don't think they're in horrible condition. Then we have X-Men 112. And then we actually have a pretty good run after the next couple. So we have X-Men 113. And I just love the cover on that. Then we've got a key here, which is the Uncanny X-Men 120. Then we have a key here, the Uncanny X-Men 121. We're missing 122, but we have 123. We're missing 124. But, oh, look at this cover. 125. Now, this one is a shame. And there's a couple of them like that. But we have 126. But it's ripped on the cover right there. And the staple is almost attached on the top. But it's actually not a bad presenting copy. I ran out of bags and boards, so I was trying to do the more pristine books. So I've got some on order to kind of get those in. I have 127. I have 128. We have 129, which is also a key. And then for Nate from Hall Yeah, we have 130, First Dazzler. Now, the only unfortunate thing with this is a really, really good presenting copy. Like, there's not really many spine ticks, and there is a little bit of a cover tear right there. But as a whole, this is a pretty good looking book. But this was one that when it was in one of it had a bag, but it should have been rebagged a long time ago. This seems like it has a little bit of water damage. Like, there's no mold or anything, but it's kind of wrinkled. And the inside is kind of wrinkled. It doesn't affect the book. You can still read the comic and everything like that, but that kind of made me sad. So that was 130. Then we have 132, another key. We have 133, which hopefully everybody knows what that is. And the worst part is, I want this book, and I don't want to underbid him, kind of thing. So, but I can't afford it. This is in too nice a condition for what I can actually give for this book. But this thing is nice, and I want to see what we can get for him. Presenting-wise, it's got the spine roll, but it's clean. And then other than, there's just a couple little dings on the top there. I mean, it's in a really good shape. Then we have 136. We have 135. And this one's a shame because we do have the color breakdown here. Like, at least it's not missing. And then the next one, I was so, if you had that one, that would be great. And this was in the throwaway pile because it was pretty beat up, but it's still all there. We got the White Queen. But as you can tell, we're missing this corner here. It's ripped over here. You can't even tell the number on it. But he actually had it, and I said, well, I'm not sure, but you have enough of a run that if we sold them as a set, maybe just because this is in there, you know, kind of thing, you might be able to get a couple bucks for it, you know. So, but that's where I want to kind of do some research for him. Again, I want anybody that's down in the comments, like I said, I plan on doing a separate video just on these books, and that's not all of them. I've got Amazing Spider-Man. I've got some really old Iron Man, a couple keys in that. I've got some Avengers. You know, nothing that equaled this. But I'm literally sitting at the table, and I had gone through maybe 30 DCs that are, you know, $1 or $2 comics. And I'm just mind numb. And he goes, well, I got this pile out here, but I don't think they're anything. And I said, well, we should still go through them, because even if it's, you know, detached, if it's a, you know, it's a big comic, you know, it's worth something. So he brings the pile in and he sits it down, and I remember I went out and smoked a cigarette, I came back and I've got a cup of coffee. So I'm drinking the coffee and I'm going through and it's like, okay, this thing's missing, you know, the entire center of the book, or cover's completely gone on this. And he had a couple of them and they're mostly DC. And then literally just in the mix was this. So I've watched Mike from Lunch Money finding stuff like that, like the video he did, that if anyone wants to go check that out, which was find the Hulk 181 at his friend's house and stuff like that. Never in a million years did I think that I would actually be finding something like that. And I wish I had recorded it, but I didn't really want to put him on camera because I don't think he really wanted to be on camera, and he was kind of cleaning the house in the background and stuff, so I didn't get any video of it, and that is my shame on me. But I'll throw a couple pictures up of when I found it. And I was sending these to my friend Sean going, I don't believe this. So my thought process is, again, anybody down in the comments, do you think I should try to have this cleaned and pressed? And again, I'll do a more in-depth video maybe, because I know it's kind of hard to tell right now. But and then the other thing is, you know, should I try to sell the X-Men's as a lot? Should I try to sell them individually? You know, I'm trying to get him the most money that I can, you know, for them. But I don't want to gouge somebody that needs the book, but I'm not going to undersell it under fair market value because I don't think that that's right either. So I just want some comments. Anybody that's done some of these sales, I'm probably going to try to reach out to some people that I know have done this. I don't do Whatnot. I don't know if a Whatnot sale would be a better idea, or maybe doing a claim sale either on YouTube or a claim sale on Instagram would be a good way to do it. He was going to take this and go to a local comic shop and see what they would give him. But he wanted me to just go through the pricing as far as just so he had a ballpark of what he had in case they were kind of trying to screw him, is what it boiled down to. So with that being said, I was able to tell him what he had, but I also now, I threw some numbers on them just as a ballpark. Now it's going to be research time. I've got to go in, kind of do a better job. I was eyeball grading them, kind of looking at it kind of thing. So yeah, I'd say that's probably a 5.0, so that would be mid-range, so I'll write the mid-grade down. Some of the bigger books I put what the highest value is. I actually looked at some previous eBay sales just to kind of get a ballpark, and even the ratty ones that were in worse conditions than the one I just showed off, we're going for some pretty good money. So anybody that can kind of help me out with that, anybody that is, you know, subscribed to the channel that is interested in this lot as is, get a hold of me on Instagram. I do have an email account that's set up in the description of the channel. I don't check it as much, but if you guys actually send me something, I'm going to try to be checking that too. You know, anything that I do come up with as far as a way to go, and he pretty much told me, you know, just do it and, you know, see what you can do and whatever. But I kind of want to have a conversation if somebody is interested in one of these, you know, here's what I think it's worth. You know, even if I've got to do like just a one-on-one with you as like a video or a Facebook or something, you know, so I can show you, see what you're willing to offer. I want to take the offer back to them because these are not my books. I wish they were. But as a child, I don't ever remember seeing this. And the sad part is I probably did. I probably read this because most of these were at my grandparents' house. And then he moved them a few times. And then, but when we went through, some of the books were gone. And those are the ones I read. And I don't know what I did with them. So a couple of the books I did in previous videos that I said, yeah, my uncle had these. And I was going to try to get him some of these that I had and, you know, take them to him. And I didn't realize he was still into comics. We talked about the Daredevil show, and he just went and saw Thunderbolts at the theater, and, and the sad part is, I knew he was into comics. He got me into comics. We have never actually sat down and talked comic books. And it was really great. And then he gave me a steak dinner. He grilled some steaks for us, and it was just a really good time. So, like, comment, subscribe. If you've made it to the end of the video, I thank you. Again, I'm going to do a more in-depth video on all of the X-Men and some of the other books. I'm probably going to split it up to what I think the bigger books are. And then I know I have some DC people. I know Matt likes comics. I know Nate from Hall Yeah. I'm sure they already have some of the, Superboys and, Action Comics. I got a crap ton of Supermans. I've got a crap ton of Actions. Nothing like to set the farm on, fire kind of thing, or he's not going to be going to Vegas on those. But I want to actually try to make sure that I offer these to the community before I turn around and sell them to anybody. So that's why I want anybody that can share this video out. Or if you want to wait until I get the more in-depth where I've kind of done some research. The worst part is with my work schedule now, I'm not going to have a lot of time to research this. And that's where I want to just I'm going to try to do the best I can and try to put this as a priority. So thanks for watching, guys. And I'm going to steal the line from Mike from Lunch Money, strange and unusual places. But I'm also going to say, if you got a family member that ever collected comic books, it might not be a bad idea to have a conversation, because these have been literally sitting in a basement for at least the last 20 years. And they were in a basement pretty much just in, shoe boxes and that kind of thing for the last 40. So let me know what you think. Thanks a lot for watching, and we will see you next time.